Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's Monday, it's 8 p.m. It is the Online Darts Live Lounge with me, Phill Bars, Jack Gobby Garwood and Lee Boyce. And we are going to tickle your tungsten taste buds for the next 2 hours. Probably, maybe a little bit more. There's a little bit to cover. It's been busy times. But gentlemen, good evening. How are we?
Hello, darling. All good, thank you very much. How are we, boys?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad. A little bit tired, a little bit fueled on caffeine, but it is what we do on a Monday. Welcome along, everyone. Come and say hi in the chat room. Come and say hello. Best chat room in darts, bar none. You lot absolutely smash it every week for us, so we'll be keeping you up to date with everything. Make sure you drop us a like and a subscribe because we are almost at the 15k mark. So it would be great to get us there. As we are speaking, Damon Hatter has just produced an absolute fabulous performance to whitewash Kai-Fan Young, 102, almost 103 average from the heat. But boys, we'll jump into this more as it happens. But there's a lot of tired performances from players that have dashed from continental Europe to get to Barnsley, boys.
You say that, but there's 3 results through in the top 16, and all 3 of them have smashed the ton barrier. Mervyn King 101 against Darius, Damon Hatter 102, nearly 103 against Kai-Fan Young, and Chris Dobie just averaged 104.33 and been bashed 5-1.
Oh, absolute scenes in Barnsley Metrodome. Absolute carnage. But boys, the weekend was full of madness. Spoiler alert. Who saw that one coming? We'll touch on it more as we go through. But yes, where did Voltage pull that from, boys?
Man just loves the European Championship. Denmark, they just love Euros, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, look, we'll come on. It's not a spoiler alert. Congratulations to Rob. Plenty to talk about. Some WDF stuff to talk about, good and bad. There was some reminiscence of old, shall we say, new organisation, same shite. But we'll come on to that.
They just swear at 4 minutes. Was you, Philip?
What's that, mate?
I said you was about to swear at 4 minutes past 8. Not even at the watershed yet. Calm down.
Yeah, we'll touch on that after 9, and we can say what we really feel. Although Corinne and Cameron Menzies didn't hold back, did they? On social media, but what's that? That's another matter altogether.
Cameron Menzies have an opinion? Never.
Well, you know, if anyone is in the chat room that went to Bridlington, let us know. Was it as bad as what it was made out on social media? Because 3 redraws is that's good going.
But there is a little bit of, from what I understand, a little bit of justification for it, in that it was the software's fault, not the organiser's fault. From what I understand,
I'm not having that. Right?
I know you should be testing that before you get there and making sure everything's set up properly.
Yeah,
but it's not.
This is my point.
Not fake names redrawing into the fact you've
no.
missed
I'm
out.
not, I'm not saying it's
the seeds were being put in the correct bracket for the draw. So
However, you know your seeds and test your software. It's just schoolboy. Look, we panned mad a few weeks ago for their cock up with streaming, not streaming, and this is on par with it. Doing lots of good things,
definitely.
but it's a massive own goal.
Yeah, John says even Paul and Jacqueline was angry, and that's saying something. Yeah, well, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, mate, because I'm not going to say it. That's the only person that will literally not allow criticism of this to happen for or from. Like, not to anybody else. Go on, you can have a pop, and we can have a general conversation about it. The minute one of those two open their mouth about it, when they've done exactly the same thing 18 months before, no time for that whatsoever.
Yeah. We've got plenty of clips lined up as well from Salzburg. But, boys, I suppose we better jump straight in and head straight to Austria, as it was finally a ranking TV tournament. I almost dropped the M word in at nearly 8:10. That has set the cat amongst the pigeons.
Oh, don't start that already.
But we're going to go straight to Austria. Thursday night, boys, seems a long, long time ago, doesn't it? When this 8-game blitz was on ITV. First up, Willie Borland played very, very well, boys. And that result probably keeps him his tour card.
Yeah, very good win. What a way to open it up. Started a bit slow, but certainly came into his own. And as you said, the win and the opportunities that we spoke about last week for some people in the European Championship. So if there'd have been more tours, potentially wouldn't have been here. But he took full advantage of it, and it was a very, very impressive win against the Wizard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jarlath said finally a ranking tournament on TV. The previous one was the week before. Yeah, but this is a proper one, isn't it? This is a proper one with massive prize money on offer.
I'll put the Grand Prix over the Euros.
Yeah, but the double in one, it's a leveler. If you ask all the players privately, they hate it. They say, oh, it's great and whatever. But if you ask any of them privately, not one of them has a good thing to say about it.
It's a leveler early on. Yeah, it's a leveler early on. The first round maybe, but the latter stages, look at who's playing in the finals. Definitely not. Certainly opens up a bit more later on.
When we have to truly define majors and we ignore Sky's wannabe Triple Crown and the Players' Champs and the Euros potentially, the Grand Prix makes it for me.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, but anyway, there, Kim Hybrex, your boy Gob, didn't really turn up, did he? Brendan Dolan bashed him up without playing well.
Yeah, thanks. One of 4 down. The rest of them didn't last very long either. My predictions last week suck.
And then Rob Cross against Keane Barry wasn't pretty. And if going off this, we wouldn't have. Don't think we'd have called it at the start, and certainly after this, boys, we wouldn't have been calling Rob Cross. That's for sure. I think we're out. Is it 24 or 25 missed starts between the pair? Cross missing about 14 of those. Yeah. It certainly wasn't a classic, but and it wasn't then hotly tipped down into the rest of the weekend following on from this performance. We was unsure what we was going to see from Cross, I think, after what we saw at the Grand Prix, beating Wright and then getting knocked out. It was unsure what we was going to see, but this certainly didn't ease any concerns about what Rob Cross was going to come into the weekend. It wasn't a good start, even though he stumbled through to the second round. Just to clarify in the chat room, there's a lot of ones dropping in the M word all over the place.
Told you not
Barry's
to.
slogan. The boss says there's no such thing as a major. They're all televised tournaments. That's the line. Then Luke Humphries, Callum Ridds. This was a strange game, boys, because neither of them wanted to hold their throw at one point. It was just break, and you could see them playing well on the other guy's throw, and they were frustrated with themselves.
Yeah, a couple of. They're not the only ones to struggle at opening night either, but you could visibly see the frustration sinking in more on these two than you could a lot of the others. They're both more than capable of what we saw on the night, and I think that's the thing that gets them. Players with a little bit more experience tend to just accept if it's not their night or try and work on a little things, but these two just want it so badly because they're so early in their career that they just want everything to click, and it just didn't quite happen for them on the night.
Yeah, definitely. Then this one, I'm still not quite sure how Jose de Souza won this game, Boise. Louis Williams pressed the self-destruct button. Was it 6 darts to go 3-1 up?
Yeah.
And was in complete control.
There was parts of it that'll please him on his debut, Lou Williams, but there's also another part of that game where there was a huge opportunity to beat Jose. Like it says, don't want to be too negative. It's his first time on TV. We've seen how impressive he's been on the Pro Tour. We've seen what he can do. Different sort of nerves down onto stage, but there was opportunities there, and I think there was just that one break of throw that Jose did. But like I said, I don't want to be too touched up with it being his debut on there, but he's going to see that as a missed opportunity because Jose wasn't playing as we know that Jose can. We're probably seeing the Jose that we've seen there for a couple of months in regards to his form. So, yeah, a missed opportunity there by Lou Williams.
Yeah, definitely. And then Peter Wright has lost first round in 2 TV tournaments on the Bants. And we're not past the watershed yet, so I can't tell you what Gob said in our WhatsApp chat when we saw the first leg and what he was throwing. But they were close to B-52 bombers, mate.
Oh, yeah. Let's come back to this one at 9 o'clock. What on earth is the man playing at? Come on. It just doesn't work.
We can't tell you what Dob said.
He's experimented this year. There's been one set that's gone up on stage with him that he's then turned to. It's been the elements, and they were the ones that he turned to for a leg and then realised it was such a big difference between what he started with and that he just had to stick with what it was and try and battle it out. What are you doing, man?
But, Boise, forget the darts a minute. He didn't look himself on stage, though, did he?
No, he seemed uncomfortable from the start. The general persona when he walked onto a stage normally is a bit more there. Obviously, there's not his own walk-on son, but just how he done to the stage, he didn't seem comfortable from the start. Obviously, then you look at the darts that he's using, he never seemed comfortable with them. The surprise for me was the change. Not that he changed midway through them, because we've seen it before, but he actually waited as long as what he waited. Because then to that point, he's left it way too long. And he couldn't then continue with the ones he changed to. Full credit to Hempel, but yeah, it didn't seem like the Peter Wright we expect to see in regards to the persona.
Yeah, and then Mensur Suljovic, the big Austrian, is back. In his own words, we had double headbutts, we had celebrations as he swept Adam Hunt aside, Boise. And how good is it to see Mensur Suljovic smiling again?
Yeah, it's just good to see him back up there and enjoying the darts. Celebrations are there. We wasn't sure when he come back at the World Cup what sort of Mensur was going to see. We had conversations only a couple of weeks ago about how long we'll see Mensur on the tour for, but how he's coming across there in interviews and how he's playing the game, how he looks like he's enjoying the game. He's not in a rush to go anywhere else. It seems like he's here to stay, but very good to see him this weekend perform as he did, and what a way to start with a convincing win against Hunt.
And then, man of the weekend, look, forget everything else. The courage, the balls, just to go. Joe Cullen, a 6-0 whitewash of Ted Everts in the opening round.
Yeah, look, solid opening from Joe. He said it in his interview afterwards that he struggled a bit at the Grand Prix, got found out because he hadn't really practiced. And the double format caught him out, but he could ease into the game. His scoring power has always been the best part of his game, and once that started going this weekend, he made the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple of clips to play from this night. We've got 2 mini clips from Joe Cullen and 1 from Florian Hempel. I think I've got them around the right way. This is the longer Joe Cullen one. Before, in the last one, tongue-in-cheek, couldn't resist having a pop at his mate, Johnny Clayton.
Yeah, definitely. Are you like to swear? No. Well, I couldn't care less about darts at the minute. I've come here and, like I say, if I'd have lost tonight, if I'd have lost 6-0, normally I would have took that really bad. But if I'd have lost 6-0, I just thought, well, I'm going home in the morning, so there's no problem about it. So, as you say, I think you do get that element of freedom, like with having that attitude. So, like I say, with things that have gone on, I think it's subconsciously probably beneficial to me. Because, like I said, I don't care about what happens.
That's a dangerous rock star, isn't it?
Well, we'll see, won't we? To be honest, I didn't expect to win 6-0. I've not practiced for probably 3 months, 3.5 months. So I think that's a little bit why I got found out a little bit last week at the Grand Prix. I think with the no practice thing, I think with the scoring, everyone sort of picks the scoring up as they go along. But to start on a double where you've not practiced, that's where the no practicing shows up on the doubles. So to start on a double and finish on a double is brutal when you're not prepared properly. But yeah, I think tonight a straight start, it suited me well.
Did you drop Johnny a message after he won? I know you two have got a great little friendship and rivalry going on.
Yeah, but to be honest, I can't take him seriously. Number 7 in the world is not in the European Championship, so I can't take him seriously. He can win whatever he wants, but you know what I mean. Where is he now? He's sat at home. He's got to be up at 7 in the morning to go plaster, so I can't take the man seriously. No.
Joe, pleasure's always there. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Oh, some great bants from Joe at the end there, and you could just see that where he was, Gob. It was just like, look, it is what it is, and I know obviously it then leaked out that sadly his mum passed away recently, and just look, kudos for him to just even be in there.
Yeah, look, just for him to even travel and be up on that stage is ridiculous. I'm not sure I would have been. But the performance, like I said though, the fact that he was there without a care in the world genuinely made him dangerous this weekend. He just went up through that. Even later on in the tournament, when it doesn't quite go his way, like just the mentality he had in I think it was the Rob Cross game. We'll probably talk about it in a bit, but it didn't go his way. He gets a leg on the board and starts giving it the cheer and everything. He's so relaxed, doesn't care. It was enjoyable to watch him play darts this weekend.
Yeah, completely. We've got a shootout for a spot in the World Series finals. It's 4-all between Luke Woodhouse and Kim Hybrex. We'll come back to that in a second. Niall is in the chat room as well. Hope you are well, mate.
The winner of that plays A.D. Lewis.
Oh, is it? So I'm looking at the wrong bit.
Yeah, and it's Kim Hybrex plays A.D. Lewis.
So I'm looking at it. I looked at the T8 bit because it was the Mervyn for King. I forgot they don't separate it.
Yeah.
When they're playing like they do at the bottom bit.
King versus Hector is a straight shootout. Ryan Joyce will take on Mike Kyvenhoven. A.D. Lewis will play Kim Hybrex, and Brendan Dolan will play the winner of Zonneveld versus Mickey Mansell.
And we've got a little clip from Florian Hempel after beating the one number 2.
Yeah, it's so many self-confidence. He's number 2 in the world, and the rest of the year, my target is to going to the World Championship, and I think this game could help me.
Very accomplished player as well is Florian, boys. Looking forward to see how he develops over the next year or so. because there's a talent there.
Oh, I got so much time for the man, apart from the fact he knocked out my winner for the weekend. But I think he's mint. I have done since we saw him at Q School. He's another player that's played a different sport, so he's clear at a very high level as well. So he's clearly got the mentality that top-level sportsmen need, and he is only going to keep getting better. If anything, the fact he's coming from Europe, is he having a better debut year than Gerwyn Price?
Maybe.
Can't be far off.
No, maybe.
Cannot be far off. So Gezi, you've got
Then
18 months to find his feet in the PDC, so...
Just a couple of people about the messages that Colin got on Instagram. Yeah, look, completely, absolutely out of order. And look, Joe let rip on his Instagram and had every right to.
Yeah.
Moving on,
Right.
Night number 2. This game went first for a reason. It wasn't a classic, but Adam Gowlas 6-4 over Joe Mernon. And there was one point in this, boys, where Joe Mernon hit a 1-6-7, and I've still got no idea where he pulled it from, because up until then it was a bag of spanners.
Yeah.
You'll tell me what you really feel about it.
Oh, it was awful. It was horrendous.
Yeah, it's quite a bit like looking at, for me, when we've had like YouTubers and stuff perform on the stage before the event started. I've seen this as the warm-up to 7 matches on night 2. I don't know if I'm across too harsh, but it was one I wasn't looking forward to at all. And it didn't disappoint in that sense. It was that bad. It wasn't a great match, was it, let's be honest, but it done the job. I didn't know where Mernon could have probably played most of the rest of the field and won that 4 leads against the rest. There's an opportunity there, and Alan Dorlas done through it, but yeah, it wasn't a great watch.
Danny Noppett's marvellous form continued. He beat the Polish Eagles 6-2, but God, this was just a good game from both. Yes, Wojciechowski wasn't at his brilliant best, but he wasn't poor. But Noppy's doubling it again, unreal.
Yeah, he was solid, and look, that was prediction number 2 out the window. Thanks a lot. Danny Noppett, he's just playing at a different level right now. He's so solid. The action just doesn't break down, but he's just got that belief and confidence when he's up on stage now that just makes him so much more difficult to beat than he was when he first come over to the PDC. Keep saying the same line that 18 months ago, me, you, and Jara sat here saying that the non-seed or the player you want to play in the first round was Danny Noppert. He kept sneaking through some of them first rounds, has built his game up, and I don't think he's too far off the level that saw him reach the BDO World Final. I'm not saying he's about to replicate that in the PDC this year, but he's not too far off that very top level he's producing over there, and now he's settled. I still think he's got another gear as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've got a nice little clip from Danny to play at the end as well. Where to start on this one? James Wade, a 6-5 victor over Adam Smith-Neill. And let's not beat around the bush. Adam Smith-Neill should have beaten James Wade. James Wade dodged a bullet. Look, whether you like Adam Smith-Neill or whether you don't, he can play darts. Let's have that one frank. Take personal opinion out of it. He's got pedigree. You don't win a World Master if you cannot play. And he will be kicking himself because he had the machine where he wanted him, Gob, and took his foot off his throat.
He did, completely. It's not very often, though, that James Wade is going to be referred to on social media as the saviour of darts, because that was one of the most popular wins for the machine, I think, ever. That being said, look, yeah, like you said, Adam Smith-Neill blew this one. He was cruising ahead. Wadey does what Wadey does and got himself out of trouble. But yeah, Smith-Neill can play darts. It's just the tainted little bit of history that makes him unlikable, unfortunately. As for Wadey, he's got to find something for me. He is struggling right now. Well, he's not struggling, but he's just dropped off that top level that he reached. about 18 months ago to a year ago when he started adding the 180s to his game and that sort of thing. They seem to have dropped off a bit. He's lost a bit of power scoring. And actually, he doesn't feel, I'm not sure if the stats back this up at all, but he doesn't feel as effective on the doubles either right now. He seems to have fallen out of love a little bit.
I agree.
And tens.
I don't know what the stats are, but I agree with you. It doesn't feel as if he's hitting tops and tens as regularly as what he normally does. And just as an ironic twist, for James Wade to call someone weird in an interview made my day. Then Nathan Aspinall, 6-4 over Merv King. Speaking of Merv King, he is going to Amsterdam. A 4-2 victory over Damon Heta. So the King.
First to five.
Oh, I'd give up trying to watch 2 hours sleep. I'd give up trying to watch 5 screens. I'll just let you two sort this.
Yeah, you keep talking about
Yeah.
I mean, he might not be a million miles away. He wants 212. Hetter's on 243. It's on Hetter's darts. But Mervyn King is the closest man to being in the World Series in the finals.
But yeah, Aspinall, good performance. And this sort of like set the tone for him, Boise, that he got over the line, took a couple of big finishes out when it mattered, and he got progressively better in the tournament.
Yeah, there was a twist in the game. It was 3 apiece and there'd been no breaks. And then Aspinall got the break and you thought he was going to push on there. Then Merv threw in the 1-2-6. And then it swung back Merv's way. And that then shown what Aspinall had about him because he reeled off the nets too, broke straight back. After that 1-2-6 against him when he was on a finish himself. So it did set a tone of that we had the Aspinall, don't want to say back to where he was before, but there was certainly signs of that in the come in the back end of this game. When that pressure was on, we saw him step it up. And overall, it was a very, very good performance, a very, very good win against Mervyn King, who didn't do a lot wrong.
Michael Smith, Ryan Searle. This one didn't disappoint either.
He's now 4-3 up, Mervyn King, Phil. So Damon Hetter's holding on. You might have done the ultimate jinx and said that Mervyn King's on his way. Hetter's doing the comeback.
To be fair, that's good. I mean, that's unfortunate. But Searle and Smith got just a damn good game of darts on a Friday night.
Yeah, and it sort of sums up Michael Smith's season right now because, again, he was in position. Again, he's played well. And, again, he hasn't quite got over the line. And he's just been searching for that result all season. Take nothing away from Ryan Searle. He played excellently again. He just keeps growing into the sport and moving on up. Only to do something a little bit disappointing as the draw seems to open up for him for the last couple of events. But yeah, Michael Smith is in that James Wade category right now where he needs a big result to just kickstart and push on.
Yeah. MVG 6-2 over Boris Kirchmar. And again, the Green Machine fairly convincing in this one, Boise.
Yeah, done firing out the blocks, 11 and a 12 early on. 1-2-8, I think. Don't remember if that was the first or second leg to they'd started. I'm absolutely flying out the blocks, always in control. And to be honest, set the tone then for what then, for me at that point, I expected him to push on. It was always obviously there's the one time in the quarterfinals that we was always looking forward to, but he certainly set the tone early on in this one. Boris played okay. Felt a bit sorry for him only getting 2 leads on the board, so I thought Boris done very well. And it's always good to see someone on stage like MVG with a presence, but you've got someone standing over him of Boris, who is a massive. He's huge.
Oh, he's a monster of a man.
He's a big old boy. He missed so many last starting hand. Don't get me wrong, they were for big checkouts. I've seen it too, Lee. We'll get to that in a second. They were for big checkouts. I remember 160 he missed top score. There was another ton plus checkout, I think, the leg before. And if he takes them, it's a completely different game. But MVG does what MV does. And Phil, you're an idiot. Because he is now there. Mervyn King has beaten Damon Hetter 5-3. That's the correct number of legs required. The big 5. Nice 14 dart leg to get over the line in that one. 100 average for Mervyn King. He's the first man to qualify.
Then the world number 1, Jeremy Price, light work of Richie Headhouse. Wasn't Richie's day up on that stage. Not really anything to talk about apart from just Price gets the job done. And then Damon Heta beating Gabriel Clemens. This was a weird game. There was brilliance from both. There was mediocrity from both. It just didn't really flow, boys, did it?
They're two very, very consistent players in my eyes, but I think they're both lacking the absolute top level game to just go berserk. We've seen it a couple of times on the floor, perhaps, but when you actually get up there on stage, they're just that little bit consistent. They miss a few darts at double. Heta's probably your man if you want somebody to be that little bit more solid on the finishes. But yeah, it's a good game of darts. It's one that you could probably watch for a while. They're not the fastest players in the world either, but they're not the slowest. They just get on with it, which is nice. But yeah, a result for Heta, mid-90s average, just what you expect in the PDC, really.
And now we've got a clip from Danny Nopper, MVG, and the ASP, I think, because I haven't really labelled them properly, but we'll play them all. They'll all make sense in the end. But you'll be Noppy and Michael have spoken, as they both say here.
Enjoying it a lot, and yeah, finally I performed well on stage, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm really confident and looking forward for every match, and I'm enjoying every time over here. I spoke with him today, and we are friends.
You two all good now, yeah? Everything's all sorted?
Yeah. We are friends, and yeah, we will shake hands together, and yeah. And for sure, I want to say he was not cheating or something, and yeah.
So that was Noppy, and this was Michael the same night.
I know you've spoken since, but at the time, did that really hurt?
Yeah, of course, at that time really hurt. He did call me a cheat because he did it backstage. I asked him backstage, so you say I'm cheating? He said, because you know his English and his Dutch are not really well, and when he has to speak it, he sounds a bit nervous. But I asked him, and yeah, but fair play to him. He come to me today and he apologized twice, and he said I shouldn't dealt with it in that way, and fair play to him. That's how you deal with things, and yeah, that only shows you're a great sportsman.
At the Grand Prix, we saw glimpses of your genius in that second set. Does that prove how close you are to clicking?
Yeah, but it's normally little parts. You also have to finish it off now. And what I said, if you don't finish it off, they're there to take you on. And you're not allowed to miss in these days. You're never allowed to miss. But I'm starting feeling good now. And even in the Grand Prix match play, I'm starting step by step. It gets better, and yeah, there's still a long way to go. But yeah, I know what I'm capable of.
Are we glad they've kissed and made up, boys?
No. What? Why would we be? Oh, yeah, everybody's friends again. There's no more for us to report. No, slap each other. No, I'm joking, yeah, but friendships are good. Let's not be started.
Just Phill, a resulting from Barnsley. Zonneval just beat Mickey Mantle, set up a tie with Brendan Dolan, averaging 107.61, and then to Mickey Mantle's 105.97. Pretty impressive, that.
Some of the averages tonight are superb.
Yeah.
5 of the winners in the top 16 all had a ton plus average, as did 2 of the losers.
Joyson, Cognovan a free apiece in a decider, and Hybrex is 2-0 up against Adrian Lewis.
Some good quotes from the ASP in this one as well.
I just need to get to a final to win something, and I think if I can get even a Pro Tour next week in Barnsley, or hopefully this, if I can win something, I reckon it's going to kickstart my career again, because it's been a bit of a lull over the last 2 years, obviously with COVID and that, but I reckon as soon as I get that win, you know, I'll be dangerous and no one will want to play me. And, you know, that's where I was at 2 years ago, and I'm not far away from no one wanting to play me again.
There we go, from the Asp. Then, moving on. Saturday afternoon session. This is the only one we've got, so we'll have to tell you the scores because they didn't do an updated one. Slacking, boys. But Willie Borland and Joe Cullen. It was Joe Cullen 10-5, and again, not really in any danger in this one. Willie didn't play as well as he did first round. Joe safely through.
Yeah, look, and decent experience for Willie, still young enough in his PDC career, but don't play to this level or this race distance very often. A lot of what players coming into the PDC and that will play is races to 6. So when you're nearly doubling the number of legs and that sort of thing, it just becomes that little bit more difficult to perform at the level that you need for the entire time. Don't get me wrong, look, the averages weren't great, 87 and 89 between them, but Joe just got that little bit of experience. He knows he can switch off for a couple of legs and then get back on it and gets over the line.
Yeah, and then Rob Cross, Brendan Dolan, boys. See, this was one-way traffic, 10-4 to Rob Cross, and again, Dolan never really in this game.
Yeah, Cross didn't really do anything special in this. He just sort of eased to it with no real pressure in it from Brendan Dolan. Quite disappointing, really. Just the performance of Dolan. Obviously, he's forgot about that now. He's down into decided to play in the World Series, but yeah, overall in that game, it was quite easy for Rob Cross. No real pressure on him from Brendan Dolan, and ease to victory. As we saw for most of it.
Yeah, Jose beating Luke 10-8, but Luke will see this as a missed opportunity. Gob, he missed so many darts at a double, still averaged 99, but it could have been so much better from Coolham, but Jose made him pay for those misses.
They didn't miss that many more. He had a better double percentage overall. It's just that, like I said, Jose punished those misses at the crucial times. First round, Jose was there for the taking. Second round, you could probably say similar, especially the way that Luke scores on TV at the minute. He's absolutely solid. But yeah, the 5-ton plus finishes, by the way, unbelievable. It was just literally the minute he got below 100, he had nothing. Never seen anything like it.
And the thing is, he wired 170 twice. Was it 156? He wired double 18 as well. It could have been ridiculous.
Yeah. Just mad.
Jamie in the chat room, hold on to that thought because that chat has been happening in our WhatsApp group as well.
Yeah, but I'm not having it again tonight. I'll just be off.
And then Danny Noppert run continued, beating Ryan Searle 10-4. But God, actually, when I put this in the chat, you never replied to this. The scheduling was interesting that they switched one game.
Yeah, but I kicked off about this last time and got told it wasn't worth kicking off about because they were such short formats overnight and that sort of thing. So I just didn't bother this time. But yeah, look, I just don't get it. It's Mentor in it and home. I think that was the difference. But yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Schedule it better from the start then, in the anticipation of him getting there. Why? Like, I don't know.
TV always wins.
Yeah, but I'm fed up of TV always winning. I'm going to say the same when we talk about the P word and everybody else that might be in there and everything else. They are giving up football, far too much power to the broadcaster. Schedule it better from the start and then stick to it.
Yeah, but without the broadcasters, the players aren't playing for this huge amount of money.
The PDC got enough back, whatever. There's enough sponsorship floating about now. Look, there's plenty of money about, Phil. And there's plenty of ways to find the money. I'm just fed up of this just ridiculous TV throwing their weight around, getting what they want, which goes against everything the PDC was ever built on as a meritocracy, and that if you're win this, it's set. And it's just nonsense decisions when everything else is set. If it's a complete mix and it's 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, then fair enough. When you're moving one specifically and then someone else is missing, like it's just not on. I said the same about the Premier League for years as well, by the way, that the same 2 or 3 players get that 4th spot or that 3rd spot when it drops down to the second phase of the Premier League. And why is it fair that one player will play first one week and 5th the following week and have to change the way they prepare for each game, and 1 or 2 players can rock up knowing they're playing 3rd or 4th every single week, have the same amount of time to prepare it and just get into a rhythm? It's just not fair. And it never has been. After you, Lee. Where was this performance the weekend, by the way? Because this man has been on absolute fire tonight. I back him to make a semi-final when he goes out first round.
Right, moving on.
Rant over, Dom.
Ran over. King Hybrex is through, by the way. He just beaten AD Lewis 5-1. What about him? AD Lewis stuck in that same position as Michael Smith. He is not playing bad darts at the minute, but he desperately needs a result. He needs to get onto TV and he needs to just get that run under his belt. But there's not a lot you can do when someone chucks 105 average at you in the final qualifying game.
Another Dutchman as well has qualified. Mike Koiverhoven is going to Amsterdam. The Dutch contingent is looking pretty good. So Nathan Aspinall, 10-6 over Damon Heta, and the Asp was warming up nicely in this one. Adam Gaulas never, ever troubled the Iceman after the second leg when he was 2-0 up. Went Boise 2-0 up, and we thought, oh, maybe. No, door slammed. Next. Yeah,
it was just, especially over this format, like it says, because if 1st-6, maybe you'd looked at it a bit more, but 2-0 and then Price just stepped it up, 3-2 at the break, and then you think, well, there we go. It's only down one way. Probably expected him to get a few more leads on the board at that stage, but then Price just done what Price does, and a very, very convincing win to set up the tie that we wanted to see.
Just a quick one. Sean, Gob gives his opinion. If you don't like it, don't watch, mate. Simple as. I'm never going to stop people giving opinions. He gives it.
Just moan. I just moan when they're wrong.
So if you don't like it,
I'm already locked tonight. I blame you two for that. In fact, I blame Jar for that because he's already wound me up.
Then MVG does a number on James Wade, and again, God, James Wade was never really in this game, was he?
Nope. And I said it earlier, he is another one that just doesn't seem to have the big performance in him right now.
I like Phill, how we were on about Dob moaning, and then you go to Dob when we're talking about James Wade losing 10-4, just to wind him up that little bit more.
You know the rules. But MVG cruising through. Then, this is where the drama happened, boys. Mensur Sulovic edging Florian Hempel 10-9 in a classic. And look, this was an absolute belter.
Yeah, it was. Hempel can take a lot from this weekend. Very, very good weekend overall. We'll be disappointed not to thumb through that game, but so much to come away from this weekend. Full credit for Mensur getting over the line. That dart at tops, that winning dart, I'm not quite sure how he got that in. Considering how his 2 darts, well, his second more than anything was like. I thought there's an opportunity to miss there and Hempel was going to come in, but very good win by Mensur, but credit must go to Hempel as well for the weekend he's had, and we're going to see a lot more of him. We're going to see an awful lot more of him. After what he done against Peter Wright, didn't get the credit I don't think he really deserved for that win against Peter Wright because of what we saw from Peter Wright, but got an awful lot of credit weirdly for the defeat than he did probably for the win. But an overall good performance and over the weekend from Florian Hempel.
Right. Got a few clips here. I think I've teed up the right ones. I think we've got Gezi and Michael, where the mind games started.
I'm playing well, and I know sometimes it does take a performance like Johnny pulled out of the bag to beat me, and you just got to take your hat off to him and just move on. And hopefully, this week I can come back from that and win this tournament. But every game as it comes, like you said, I'm playing well, and it's going to take performances like Johnny to knock me out, hopefully, and I just need to be on my A game every time and put people under pressure.
I bet you're glad he's not here this week.
I want my revenge. I wish he was here, but he's a great lad. He's resting up. He's earned enough money, so he doesn't need this one.
I know as darts fans, all eyes are on that potential quarter-final with MVG if you both come through tomorrow. I see by the little smile on your face there. It's those games that really excite you.
Yeah, and to know that Michael played fantastic today, and I'd rather play Michael in that form rather than when he's not playing well. It brings the best out of me, and if you go and lose to Michael when he's playing brilliant, then fair play to him, same as Johnny last week. But yeah, I'd rather play Michael in some good form rather than bad. But he's playing well, I'm playing well, and if we've got another game in front of us, so don't look too far ahead. But if we get there, it'll be a smashing game, I think.
Wrong clip, but get the gist through. And then here we've got. To be fair, I don't. Where we're editing them so quick, I don't label them up properly. And but he said along the lines of, "I'm in his head for the first time" instead of the other way around. And full interview is on the YouTube channel. But then we have Michael's reply.
Yeah, he's never been in my head ever, and he's never going to enter my head either. I played so many games against him. I won probably 80-90% of them, and the last time he beat me, he probably shouldn't beat me, and he was nervous there. So yeah, whatever he says, that's just to make an act, and we all know that. I only need to concentrate on my own game. If I play good, he's not capable of beating me, but I have to show it tomorrow. Simple as that. They got the fear factor anyway. If you ask them all, they all say no, he's not good in form, because they all want to score very lightly. But if you really look deep inside their heart, they're all scared still of me.
He knows how to drop a line, that boy, doesn't he? He knows how to give us some views. That was them two. And Juanita, how dare you? How very dare you stir the pot?
Only a bit, Juanita. The man's in Professor Snape potions class constantly.
Oh, speaking of which, Heathrow Terminal 5 has a Harry Potter shop.
Only you. Only you.
Is that the notebook with all our predictions in, Phil?
I've got a new one, the new Marauders map. So when they're wrong, I just go mischief manage and they disappear.
Thank God for that.
So up until the quarterfinals, that is how the draw bracket looked. We had some absolute belting ties to look forward to. Moving on Sunday afternoon, it was the quarterfinals. And boys, this is probably one of the best sessions of darts we've had in a long, long time, I think. From top to bottom, this was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the start.
The games went close, which is a start. We haven't seen a session where everything's gone that close for a while. I think last time maybe match play about 18 months ago, maybe a bit further back than that.
Yeah.
A lot of matchups that were nicely balanced as well. Styles that matched each other. A lot of just getting on with the darts as well. Even the two main antagonists that perhaps don't just get on with the darts, just got on with the darts. And it made for an excellent game. Bit difficult to say anything else about that one. Some very good storylines in there. Rob Cross returned to form. Mensah and Joe Cullen, excellent. The opening game is a player on the rise, a player on the comeback that just get on with it. It was a very good session of darts, like I said.
But all eyes on game number 2. Already a very strong contender for Game of the Year. It's going to take something special to top that, Boise.
Yeah, it is. And it was a perfect warm up for it. What we saw from Aspinall and Noppy, and I was a bit worried how good that game was. To think has that overshadowed what we're going to have from MVG and Price. There's always that possibility that one can sort of demolish the other one. But it was a perfect warm up for them. What we had with MVG and Derwin Price, it was everything we wanted. We called it last week. I think the only thing that the three of us agreed on was that it'd be a quarter final, maybe, unless God picked Wade at some point. But it was one we wanted to see, and it did deliver. I can't think of a better game so far this season, and a contender, but it's the top of the list for me. I'm trying to think back of one that's really stood out from me, if anything, on the match play. But for me, that was one that we just wanted a bit more of. It was so good to see Michael back at that level in that sort of game. Derwin Price pushed him, but MVG coming out on top after the words the day before, which is all good.
Yeah, look, and there was a point in this game, Gob, when MVG broke to go 8-7 up, and then he put 3 darts on the wire of tops, and Gezi took at 82, going ball 32, which was un-Gezi. Like, I know in the chat we were like, it's going to happen again, that he's played well and going to get beaten or get punished for 3, not poor darts either, because they were right along the wire, but just what a climax of that game that was.
Yeah, like I said, it very much had the feel that in years gone by, MVG's had this air of inevitability that when it goes close at the back end, he's just going to do something in those key legs and take the game away. Like, no matter how well you play, you're going to do that. Gerwyn Price has developed that over the last year or so. He's won games that perhaps he shouldn't do, or he's turned it on when he needs it most in the last 3 or 4 legs, takes the game away from someone. All the effort that you've put in just to get to that point is taken away from you instantly. And even then, if he opens up a 60, you think you've got a chance in a leg against Gerwyn Price, and then he'll fire in back-to-back 2 treble visits or something, and you're edging ahead in the leg, but actually by the time you get down to a double, he's there just before, and all of that sort of stuff. So, like I said, it had that air of inevitability around Price this time, that he's just playing that well. MVG's going to lose another classic, and it's not going to go his way, but didn't quite go that way. We saw some steeliness from Michael, switched it on himself, and big result that he should have backed up for the rest of the weekend.
Spoiler alert, when we move straight into the semi-final, Aspinall MVG, this was a really weird game because MVG was in complete control and switched off. He missed darts for 8-1 and 8-2, but then at 10-all produces, like you said, Gob, that leg that we just know that when it was tied, he was going to do, and it was vintage semi-final performance.
Yeah, it wasn't 7-1 up. He switches off. He switches off completely. Usually in that position, or again in years gone by, and in the years when he dominates the sport, he could switch off for 2 or 3 legs, get it back straight away, and that's that. That squashes it. That's it. He let the comeback go on for far too long against Nathan Aspinall. He was unable to respond. He looked like he just lost all motivation, and that it wouldn't hurt him, and that it would just click soon enough. That took him until they were level, which was a big risk. And actually, forget the last leg, Nathan Aspinall missed a chance to lead, I think, about 8 each.
Double 16, I think.
Yeah, and that cost him. That cost him the match. I forget the last leg. It was brilliant by Michael. Asp opens up just with a 60. He started pushing the darts a little bit low. You started seeing that. Even on the comeback, there are a lot of 140s where the first 2 are in, and he's just dragging them low that little bit that he needs to eradicate when he starts trying that little bit too hard. But yeah, that earlier miss from Aspinall was the game. Forget the last leg decider. That was only going in one direction once Michael had the throw.
Yeah, and then in the second semi-final, look, it wasn't Joe's night. He was 9-0 down, I think, got a leg on the board. Massive cheer, massive surprise. Look, just ran. I think he had nothing left in the tank emotionally or adrenaline-wise, Boise, when it comes to that semi-final. Look, Rob was very professional, did the job he had to do.
Yeah, we did, and Joe, at that point, it got to a stage where it didn't seem like he wanted to be up there. Once he then won that lead on the board, and there was that support, there was that cheer, and he seemed to, he knew at that stage he'd lost the game, but it seemed like he wanted to then go out and just enjoy the last, 5-6 minutes maybe of the day, and had a few leads on the board. The support he got was brilliant. When someone's losing like that and you can see a whitewash, yes, there's the ironic cheer at the first lead that the players won, but then after that, the support he got throughout was very good to see. Rob Cross done a job. It was very steady, but convincing win by Cross, as Lloyd says, what we'd seen throughout the whole weekend from him. So full credit to Cross and Cullen in that one. It just was that stage for Cullen where he'd run out, and it was either going to happen then or the final. A lot of effort went into this weekend.
Spoiler alert. Rob Cross, first title in 2 years, boys, beating Michael Van Gogh in 11-8 in the final. And look, the final was all about MVG for me. Didn't produce, missed so many darts at a double, and Rob Cross did what he did all tournament, punished people's mistakes when it mattered.
I agree to a certain extent, but A, Rob Cross absolutely loves this event, and B, Rob Cross just has this knack of winning tournaments or getting to finals and performing on days where you have to play the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final on the same day. He's just very, very good at that, and it takes a lot out of these players to do so. Michael had the battle early on, the good game after that as well. Rob he just looked that little bit fresher in the final. Obviously, not having to play massively well to beat Joe previously would have helped, but Michael had the rest, which works both ways as well. The new points in Rob Cross's darts have made a massive difference, and I can't explain why. It changes the balance of the point ever so slightly. They seem to be going into the board just that little bit more of an angle. Which one?
Nathan's using the same points. Nathan's using the same.
Interesting. But it's the length for me. That changes the balance of the dart a little bit. It means he can flick it up with a little bit more, with a little less effort, I think, in a throw. I think he was trying to find too much angle. Previously, they seem to be sitting into attention. He's not losing as many wild darts, which is what sometimes happens when you do put longer points in. They can veer off in the air, but he seems to have full control over that. His love affair with double 18 is back. We saw emotion when he hit a 180. We haven't seen that Rob Cross turn to the side double pump for a long, long time. And I've been saying that about A.D. Lewis and a couple of others. When they're on a decline, even if they fired it in, they just don't feel like they've got enough to back it up. And the fact that he was prepared to go at it and give it that raw says that he's in a far better place mentally as well. The step back, dry your hand, pin the double was just as effective as it was when he was winning the World Championship and making the splash. He just looked a completely different player. And look, I don't want to take credit for it, and I just want to remind everybody that I've been saying he's been looking good since the Premier League. He didn't get the results in the Premier League, but they were mid-90s averages. He had a solid platform to build on. All right, none of us sat here and said he's going to pick up a title this early, but at the same time, he's had that platform, and that just gives him what he's gone on and done, and he's saved his ranking prize money. Basically got a free roll for the next 2 years because that'll prop him up once again. And if you're going to win a title and play yourself back into form, September, October is the time to do that in the PDC calendar.
I'm sure, Dob. I'm sure that Rob Cross will be happy that you're not taking any credit for his win this weekend.
Aaron in the chat room, welcome from Canada, mate. Hope you are well. And here's a mini clip of what Rob had to say afterwards.
Sometimes it's a weird game because I don't have to be at my brilliant best. I can win with a B game. It's crazy. It's absolute crazy. Like most people, to win titles, they're looking to win with an A game. And for some reason, I can win with a B game. As long as I hit doubles and my timing's right. And to be fair, I had massive leads today. Got a few leads and got my nose in front and just held it down, hit doubles at the right time. And that's what it's all about. I think they'll still have probably 20-25% to go, 100%. And that's down to me to get that out. No, I think for me, obviously, yeah, I want to be there. But at the same time, I think that
I've got to focus on my ranking. I've got to get myself right, and that comes first. Without no ranking, there's no other stuff. So I just think I've got to just get my head down, just start focusing on what I'm doing, and sort of going forward. Really, I love Premier League 15,000. I love all that, and if you brought that back to me, I think I'd be better than ever. But at the same time, look, it's too far away to look. We've got so many tournaments and need to focus on them.
Rob playing it down a little bit, but he also spoke about how he wants to be back there, boys. We'll talk about the PL in the questions because there's a lot to talk about. But also with that win, Rob Cross confirmed his place in the Kazoo Grand Slam of Darts. A lot of names missing, a lot of opportunities still to come, but that's the field so far, boys.
Yeah, 2 confirmed this weekend. Rob, with John Netting confirmed as well. We've only Cross making it in.
Yeah.
But Dud Phill, yeah, like you said, a lot of big names missing.
Yeah.
So far. Still time, though.
Oh, yeah. Still loads of time left. Still a qualifier that you know that people will come through and everything like that. But that is how the Grand Slam field looks at the moment. A couple of ones that I'm worried about in there. Look, right now, if you're Bradley Brooks and Joe Davis, not really showing a lot of form. I know form can come and go quite quickly, but a lot of...
It's been a long time since they did what they had to do to qualify. It's been a long time since they made the World Youth Final. Like that's always the issue, I think, with that, is that we're only 6-7 weeks away from that event again, and they have to wait all year round to get to this. It's slightly later slam than usual, is it? I don't know.
It's only a
week later, I think. Yeah, only a week.
Jonathan, I'll be on 10:30. Don't worry about that.
Zonneveld is the 4th man through, upping the Dutch contingent. So that was 4 invitations. Kuyvenhoven and Zonneveld have come through the qualifiers. The big name Dutch player to miss out, and might possibly, I know Telneckers and Klaassen are in the field as well. Barney is the biggest Dutch name to miss out on the World Series in the Netherlands.
Right. Well, now that's done, I'm going to touch on this. When the wild card were announced last week, who found it a little bit strange? Look, over the past 5 years, the PDC have given Barney wild cards for things that, quite frankly, he didn't deserve. Arguably, this time around, he'd done enough to deserve one over Jeffrey Dejuan, and they didn't give it to him.
Yeah. In comparison, he's actually won a title this year. He's won a Pro Tour.
Yeah.
He's got his tour card back. The last time he was in Holland was the near retirement that was absolutely perfect, and I still have no idea why anybody convinced him to come back. But yeah, look, and perhaps it is a fallback on the fact that he's got so many invites in the past that perhaps were because of his name and his stature in the game rather than what he'd actually achieved in that calendar year, etc. And maybe this is a final realization by the PDC that actually that had to change. But this year is the time that he deserved it, and it's just weird. I'm so done with all these invites and invite events and politics. Just pick the best players, for Christ's sake.
God looks a broken man.
Just done with it.
Believe me, there's plenty more to come. Someone in the chat room asked what Matt Campbell had done to be on the list. He topped the European Q School Order of Merit. That's why he's there. But
Quite
yeah, that's
in
that.
play.
Yeah. Right. From there, this might come out a little bit small because I had to screenshot it. Again, this is one of my criticisms of the WDF. Over the weekend, their social media was shite.
It wasn't them running the event, though, was it?
Still their event. It's classed as a WDF Gold event.
It carries their ranking points. That's it. They don't own the event. Like it was a Tri Nations event, was it not?
What's it on Darts Connect as?
I don't know.
WDF event.
I'm still looking at the PDC because that's finished.
So first up on the Saturday, it was the British Classic and Jim McEwen champion over Reese Hayden 6-5 in the final. Some big names in and around that. Aaron Monk went up to Bridlington to play. Scott Marsh, Steve Hines, Aaron Turner, all doing well. Get to the quarterfinals on the Saturday event. Then, which one have I got teed up next? The ladies. We had. Let me get this one up. So that one. Nope. That one. Lorraine Hyde continuing her good form from the ladies series, Gob, that me and you spent an awful lot of time watching. We said that she played some good stuff, and she backs it up with the British Classic ladies title.
Yeah, and look, it's nice to see some of these titles being shared around. Traditionally, there's a group of 4 or 5 that would pick these up. 2 players that played very, very well at the women's series that we're going to see again this weekend. That there's plenty of incentives for that now. There's the top 8 going to Q School for free. There's the top from this weekend going to the Slam. There's a 2nd place overall for the World Championships as well. There's a lot of reasons for these ladies to be turning up. And look, Rhiannon O'Sullivan's in there, Natalie Gilbert's in and around there as well. These are names that we saw performing in the first block. And if they carry this on, Lorraine Hyde was very, very impressive at the women's series and a player we want to see again.
Yeah, completely agree. And then from there, this one came up on social media a few times as well. How Luke Littler is still only 14.
It's scary. It is so scary because he is so good.
Yeah.
It's just off the production line, isn't he? There's so many that are going to be coming through. Henry Coates and Travis Dudney, by the way, are 2 very, very talented players. Well, I don't know a lot about Charlie, but Henry Coates is playing County A and has been for 18 months in the men's side. The one that's obviously too old for this, I think, Mr. Bennett, he will be doing everything as of New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whichever one it is. My friend from uni is actually his practice partner right now. They spent 3 days together last week, and he said the amount of ton plus averages Leighton was throwing in was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, look, he's getting ready for Q School, and look, he backs his own ability. And like we've said before, I think the time away from the limelight has actually done him the world of good to get his head down and just get on with it.
I agree.
On Sunday is where it all mattered in Bridlington. It was the British Open, and there was a familiar name picking up the title, and in doing so, officially booked her place at Lakeside. Whether she plays in it or not is another matter. I'm still not convinced with Q School potentially starting the day after finals. I'm not sure.
They'll whack a prize money, and she is yet to be a world champion.
Yeah, right.
I'd be there for the title. I'd be there for the title. Look, what she's done in the PDC is fantastic, but world titles matter, and until the PDC have their own, she is playing as well as she ever has done. Go and get that world title.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that with Q School potentially starting the day after the Lakeside finals, it's a risk.
Yeah, it's a risk. There's also the preparation side to it as well. It's not bad
Depends on the
preparation.
format of Q School. Depends on the format of Q School as well.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert! I can tell you what the format is. In my interview with Matt dropping tomorrow, he tells us that Q School will be 2 stages again. The screening section is staying.
Interesting. Have they solved the issue that once you get to second stage and players start winning, there's not quite enough to fill the draw out and people get buys?
Don't know that bit. He wouldn't. I still think they're working on bits, but 2 stages will be there. But going back to the ladies, Fallon Sherrick beat Corinne Hammond in the final. Just looking at the quarter-final lineup onwards, Gob, few names missing that perhaps you'd expect to see in around. No Anastasia in and around this.
Yeah, I mean, she lost her own 4 to Vicky, Rhiannon O'Sullivan as well. I genuinely think that we've been saying this for a while, that next level of ladies darts is quite competitive. It's just been the top players that we thought were that level above. And actually looking at recent results, perhaps the women's series, I suppose, set that aside with Lisa and Fallon dominating, but Dieter and Anastasia, maybe they're being caught up a little bit by Corinne and Vicky Prim and Laura Turner. She had that very good run on the final day of the ladies series last time out as well. Ros Bulmer played very, very well at ladies series. Was very impressive her, considering the fact that she only got over cancer a couple of years back. Kirsty Hutchison was another that played very, very well. So look, the draws are going to do this to you sometimes as well. You forget that there's just chance that these ladies are going to meet each other early on. There are big clashes constantly. But yeah, another title for Fallon.
Yeah, we'll do the men in a second. Benson, Fallon will be foolish not to go to the late side. She needs a world title on her resume. Yeah, no, I agree and I don't. I agree the world title sounds good, but right now, is it a legitimate world title?
If there's one or the
this
other,
one's a continuation of what's always been there for the women. The men's, you can have that question, but the ladies are all going to play there and they're all going to do the same.
The thing for me on it, with what's coming up in January, for me, a priority is getting through Q-Stall. So as much as whatever we class the world title as, if it's as big as what it was before, like Dob says, it is the same names, but I think her priority's got to be Q-Stall. And if she sees the world's then as perfect preparation for that, then go for it. If it's not, then I think she has to prioritise Q-Stall. And I see it still going. I still see it going, but if it's one or the other, the priority's got to be Q-Stall for me.
I'm not so sure. Increased prize money at the Women's World Championship this year. That's already been promised. The world title means more. In 10, 15 years' time, we're going to remember the fact that Fallon Sherrick has a world title, not the fact that she got through Q School one year, because Lisa's already done it. It wouldn't be the first. I think if it was the first lady going for a tour card, then there's that chance for that little bit of history, and that's a bit memorable. But Lisa's already got that. Lisa's got more world titles. Long run, potentially, the opportunity to earn a bit more money in the PDC as a Pro Tour player, but you have to win games in that. Worst case, you go to Q School, you can still play Challenge Tour once again. She's still going to get invites because the PDC absolutely love her. Can still play Modus online league and pick up money in that, which is constantly going up, by the way. We're mad with that. And all the other events as well. And have a world title that in 10 years' time, people go, Fallon Sherrick was world champion. Not Fallon Sherrick won a tour card.
But the benefits of that tour card are a lot more as well than... Yes,
the benefits of that tour card are that the invites are legitimate. That's it.
But the invites she gets now could be... Yeah, she gets invites now, but there could be even more if she's now got a tour card.
Yeah.
I think that's bigger, personally. And that's not me. With the world title being what it is, and it's the first one of the WDF, I think she's got to be going all out for that tour card. Especially we've seen what she can do already. I think that's got to be the focus.
the amount of discussions we've sat here and said, when all's said and done, the thing you remember for is world titles. When we've spoken about A.D. Lewis and the like in the past, James Wade's absence of a world title, stopping him from being an all-time top 5 great, still in the conversation because he's won titles in 3 different decades, but the lack of a world title hampers him.
I think
unless the PDC have plans for a women's world championship, which I'm not sure they do. Because then why are you pushing the ladies to go and play in the men's game?
I agree with you to a certain extent, Gob. However, only in PDC terms, because that is the premier one. That's the premier world championship. When you drop down, look, we've already seen MAD are going to have a world championship. The WDF have a world championship. So outside the PDC, can you legitimately call yourself a world champion?
For me, the women's you can, because I see the WDF Women's World Championship as a continuation of what was there from the BDO. The men's, I think that'll be spread around a bit more.
Well, but if there's 2 or 3 of those world championships, but Dob, if there's 2 or 3 of those world championships, so if there was just one and that was the only one, but if there's 2 or 3 world championships, can we then class all of those as world champions? So we can have 3 different ladies world championships.
For the men's, I completely get what you're saying, but for the women's, the relationship that you guys have, that we've traditionally associated the PDC and the BDO Men's World Championships, I see that with the WDF and then the MAD Ladies World Championships, because the ladies has always been BDO/WDF. It's always been the WDF's tournament, by the way. It's just had the BDO's name and run into it. Is an absolute continuation of it. That is the Women's World Championship. MAD are running a World Championship, and yes, it dilutes it a little bit, but the same way that having 4 World Championships dilutes the PDC a bit.
Yeah, but when you listen to people, the WDF don't want to be associated with the BDO. This is new. This is our first World Championship. That's how it's been branded. It's their first, so it can't be a continuation
because of the bad publicity of it. But it is still the same event with the same qualifying criteria.
So, come December next year,
ultimately run by the same people
in the amateur game. Forget the PDC a minute. So, say I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Fallon Sherrock wins the WDF Ladies World Championship, and Corinne Hammond wins the MAD Ladies World Championship. Which one's world champ?
Fallon.
Yeah, but you can't say that because they're both new tournaments.
Because the same way that we've continuously said that the PDC World Champion has been the world champion for the last 20 years. And the BDO has been the amateur world champion.
This would be both of their first world championships. This would be the first WDF world champion and the first MAD one. You can't have it both ways.
The WDF criteria is a continuation. It's the same qualifying criteria at the same venue. The only difference is the title of the company that are managing this, because the BDO is so bad that nobody wants to work with that name anymore because it's just in the mud. And the fact they're playing for more prize money.
But Dob, on that one as well, the WDF and the MAD ones, those are still the same players who are competing in both of those world championships, if that's what they are. Whereas the PDC and BDO have always been different fields completely.
Not necessarily.
So to say one is then above the other one.
We haven't seen the ranking table for the women in MAD yet. We've seen everybody that's ever competed at a BDO World Championship playing in WDF events with the intention of going to Lakeside. I still think the players see that as the Women's World Championship.
No, look, I disagree.
Why?
I struggle to, because it's, for me, it's new, right? It's a new world championship, the WDF. I get what Ben's saying, and they're listing.
It's new in name, that is it. It is new in name, that is it. Look at the way you qualify, look at who's behind it, look at the venue. It's just the same.
When you listen to Nick Rolls and Richard speak, all they go on about is the first WDF World Championship. If you're branding it as your first,
and why is that?
You can't then go back. Oh, well, this is all the past ones. It's new and It's not. It's either new or it's not.
But
For me,
it's just a continuation with a rebrand. That's all it is, because the BDO name is so bad that it will push people off of it. The way they're pushing it is the marketing of it, because nobody will watch a BDO World Championship because the BDO is ran into the ground. The system wasn't broke. The people running it and the name had just become broken and nobody wants it.
I disagree. But hey ho.
There's 4 world champions in boxing, Dave, and we're not getting into that one.
And then the men's Scott Marsh will be going to Lakeside, beating Connor Scott in the final. What a classy 11 dart leg to win it as well, boys. From Scott Marsh.
May have just seen Connor pop up in the chat room as well at the start. He qualified for the England national team as well on the Friday night, I believe. So hello, mate, if you're watching. But yeah, look, if you're going to get over the line with that, that's a solid performance after these are very, very long weekends of darts as well.
Oh yeah, completely. And again, looking at the names, Mike Warburton making a semi-final. Dave Prins, Brian Roman, quarter-finalist, Martin Atkins, Dave Paoletti. Some good stuff going on. Martin Adams getting to the last 16. Some good stuff going on. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. The redraw. A lot of unhappy people on social media. Corinne's one said it all. If ever there was an advert to play the PDC Ladies Series, this is it. Look, you can't be making mistakes like that.
No, you can't. And it's high profile, especially given the attention you're getting, being in the UK, with it being a direct qualifying for the WDF World Championship. But I genuinely think more people were pissed off that the beer had sold out by 11 a.m. than they were the redraw. Because they ran out of cards.
I don't know. I don't know. You listen to certain people. Look, I'm not saying it wasn't done for the right reasons, because obviously the seeds are in the wrong place. But like I said earlier, like mad, when they were building the streaming up that they were going to stream the European Championship title defence and it fell over at the thing, this is the same. Test it. You know your seeds. You make sure it is done. And not just that. The fact games, right, my problem is the fact that games had started. If it had been cocked up,
that's the issue.
And they'd realised it.
Yeah. Games are underway.
The fact games had started is almost unforgivable.
Yeah. Without doubt.
The fact that they've got underway. You're playing the wrong person. That's where I've got an issue. Like, if it's just a redraw, people have seen the draw and go, actually, they're not in the right place. We've got to do this again. Sod's law. Stick it out. But the fact games had started before they realised the error again, that's an issue.
Yeah.
It's the issues that they've had. Mad had issues a few weeks back. Moving forward, we've just got to make sure we don't see these again, because happening once is bad enough. With different issues at each event, but these happening once is bad enough. I know we had numerous redraws. If we then start seeing that over other tournaments, then it starts losing what it's trying to build up already. There's a lot already handing over from obviously what happened at the BDO. Now they're trying to rebrand it all and get going for qualifiers for the Worlds. And if this is then going to happen continuously, then there's going to be a lot more questions asked than there already was the weekend.
Yeah, massively. Look, it's great to see darts being played up and down the UK and Europe. Don't get me wrong. From that side of it, all top draw. But it's the little details that will set you apart, or also get you crucified.
Yeah.
This is the issue with the model, I think, in that events are run by the nations, and there's no real specialists at any of these events, so it can happen brilliantly at one event, then you've got different people running the next weekend, different people running the weekend after, and so on. Like, the specialism is what the PDC have got right, and it's the same people running the events every weekend. It's consistent across the board and that sort of thing. They know what works, they know what don't work, and yes, you can do draws and whatever, and there's people that can run tournaments, but I just think that absence of one tournament director for the entire calendar hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. Lots to talk about. Also, some good news: the World Seniors Qualifier is full. 128 spaces booked to take place, and both days, quarterfinals onwards, will be streamed on our YouTube channel, with Gob being there at the venue. With Helen Chamberlain will also be there, Gob.
You didn't tell me that bit.
Well, I thought I'd let you agree first.
Does that mean I have to do the old Soccer AM catwalk?
Can we get away with that these days? Is it politically correct?
Probably not. Probably not. Let's not open that one. I mean, it's 9:30, but let's not get cancelled, shall we?
Yeah. Quarterfinals, both days going to be streamed on our YouTube channel, so you can see who gets those 2 coveted spots at the Circus Tavern. What else have we missed? Oh, how can we forget? Saturday night around 1:00, Mark Webster, rolling back the years, over the 2 days, won 8 games in a row. Simply sensational from Webby.
Yeah, because Thursday night didn't quite go his way. He was scoring unbelievably, but visibly frustrated. When I say visibly frustrated, I mean there was some aggressive slapping of one hand by the other hand and all sorts from Webby, where it just wasn't quite clicking on the outer ring. He was giving up far too many opportunities. Murph kept saying that if it just clicks, then it'll be fine. And oh my God, did it click for Webby? He looked superb.
Yeah, the 139 that he took out against Robert Thornton, but in the semi-final, that 1-2-1 was picture book perfect. And it was just an absolute joy to see Mark Webster qualifying for chat. And the way it's going, Champions Week is developing. It's going to be a fantastic field.
And it's just more darts for him to play. It's lovely seeing him back. Hopefully we can try and sneak a couple of others that are in a similar sort of position into the field. Wouldn't it be bad to see the likes of Nico and Mace having a crack as well at some point? Let's not promise it for them.
All I'm saying is I've seen the lineup for Phase 6. Box office with a capital B.
You've told me the name, mate. I'm looking forward to Phase 6.
Honestly, Phase 4 of Week 6. Good luck. That's all I'm saying. Good luck.
I mean, Week 4 of Phase 6.
Yeah, that's what it means.
So, don't think we've missed anything else this week, have we? In the week of darts, boys.
My league team restarted and we won our first game. Yeah!
Oh, yay!
And I dropped myself. That's
stuff.
how good we are.
Good stuff.
Good
So we'll open the chat room. So get your questions in. Of course, whilst you do that, it's a busy week here at Online Darts. Starting tomorrow, we have 6 days of continuous streaming, 4 Pro Tours and 2 Ladies Series. We will have you covered. It's going to be good, boys, isn't it?
Busy, 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 busy.
And then
Looking
the week
forward
after, it is the World Series Finals. To be fair, so whilst they're getting them in, I didn't think Danny Baggish was over. Obviously, he played today. I thought he was staying in America.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so did I. I was just checking his results today, beating Ian White. and then losing to
Beating Wright, then lost
Joyce.
5-4 to Ryan Joyce with a 94.5.
Yeah.
But it is question time. It's the bit we love. So, well, we kind of teased it earlier. The P word was been muted around a bit of a. Rob Cross, are we saying he's definitely in?
Yes. For me, yes.
Rob?
Just want a televised TV event. He has to be in, doesn't he?
Well, there's no
rules.
Well,
yeah,
unofficial rules. There's nothing in paper. There's nothing in writing to say.
John Henderson also won a TV event.
Well, and that narrative has been spun before. When Barney won the World Cup and was selected, the line used was everyone selected has won a TV title. So if you want to spin that narrative, Boise, it's been spun before.
If you want to spin that narrative, I'll bash your head in with it. Please do not seriously sit there and try and tell me, and I'm just literally repeating what we said in our WhatsApp earlier on today, that John Henderson has the same commercial viability and overall ability as Raymond van Barneveld did 5 years ago. Because I will laugh you off this dream myself.
I'm just saying that narrative has been spun to get someone in, that they've won a TV title.
Yeah, if the top...
Five-time world champion, not medium-sized John Henderson.
Dob, if the top 4 in the world win the remaining TV events, it must be in with a shout.
You're mad. No.
It must be. Why not? Why not?
He's just not playing well enough. He's not consistent enough. Don't get me wrong, seeing John Henderson lift the World Cup made me very, very happy. Been a big fan of him. He's a crowd favourite, etc. But he's just not going to be competitive in that field. That doesn't grow the game enough. The Brits love John Henderson. The rest of the world that we're trying to push the Premier League to couldn't give a toss.
Just imagine how happy you'll be when he lifts the Premier League. That delight would just grow.
Come on, man.
Why not? It's possible.
Look, I know we touched on it earlier, and Gob's going to bury his head in a minute.
Just turn it off.
If Fallon gets out of the group in the Slam and she wins at least once at the Worlds, I believe Sky will want her as one of their wildcard picks. He's gone. We've finally done it. He's...
Yes. If I'm with you. I'm totally with you. That's why when we're talking earlier on about the Q-Stall and the Worlds, that's why I think Q-Stall is more important for Fallon than the WDF Worlds. Because I think she has got a huge opportunity. Also, a lot of it does play out depending on how the rest of the year goes. Obviously, I was a bit in jest with the John Henderson comments. However, if for the rest of the year we have Derwin Price, Martha Van Derwin, Peter Wright, Rob Frost probably now win the titles, there's a lot of spaces that certainly open up. And that is certainly one route we would expect broadcasters to go down to include Fallon in there.
Yeah, look, we touched on earlier that the broadcasters have got so much power, and I just think that if they can, Sky will want to give her one.
For me, just it's all on these titles. Welcome back. There's opportunities there for the rest of the year with these tournaments, and we believe that if you win a TV event, you're gonna get a place in the Premier League. Like it says, if they then go to people who are already guaranteed, i.e. in the top 4 who already won one, your Johnny Clayton, Rob Cross, or your top 4, then those opportunities do open up for someone like Fallon. Fourth stop?
Yeah.
No.
The chat room suddenly got lively all of a sudden. Raven, it's not about the tour card holders for this, mate.
Yeah, but I'm fed up of this line. I'm fed up of what the TV want and Barry's rule #1 and all that, because the minute we've gone too far with it, it's no longer that if players are good enough, they get in, because it's not been based on ability for a long, long time. And the minute you're doing that with what they see as one of their flagship events, you're basically telling everybody else that if your face don't fit, you ain't getting in for anything. And what the bloody hell's the point
we know
in
that anyway. We know that
Yeah,
anyway.
but that's a joke. It shouldn't be that. Why are the best players not being rewarded?
Your boy
I'm
got
fed up
left out
hearing
when he was
grow
world
the
number
game
5.
as well and putting bums on seats. Bums are already on seats way before the announcement of the lineup comes out. That's nonsense.
God,
Premier League tickets were advertised in March this year.
They left your boy out when he was world number 5. That set the
Yeah, 'cause they're
benchmark.
idiots.
They can do what they want.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have that power because he's good enough. The rules need changing. I'm fed up with them having loopholes and everything else. Look, we praise the PDC to their hills every time they get something right. Getting darts back on through the pandemic was massive. One of the only sports that were able to do so. But for the last 6 months, I just don't agree with half what they're doing, because they just pick and choose when they can and can't change the rules. European Championship, for one, the Women's Series just keep chucking more and more incentives at it. And at some point, the players ranked 32 to 128 need to step up and go, hang on, why the bloody hell are they getting this, that, and the other when we've got our tour card? We're there, but we're not getting the extra opportunities and chances that everybody else is being thrown at.
Yeah, but for the ranking events, I get that.
You look after your own.
Yeah, but for the ranking events, I genuinely understand that frustration. But for anything non-ranked, for me, that doesn't stand up.
Why?
Because it's non-ranked.
Yeah, but that's not the point. If you're
is.
growing the game, it should be with the players that you've got that are on show every weekend. There's no point showing off Alan Sherrick to the world, trying to sell PDC TV subscriptions for a Pro Tour, and then she's not bloody there.
Well, she will be for the ladies' series.
But for 30 Pro Tours a year and 13 Euro Tours, she's not, as it stands.
It's no different. It's no different to football pre-season tours that are now all televised, like the Audi Cup, when Liverpool, Chelsea, and United all go off to America, get paid 50 million to do so, and Burnley go, well, why don't we get that? Because you're not very good to watch.
Between pre-season and
it's the same
regular
thing.
events in the PDC. There's
Yeah,
far
but
too many
my point
non-ranking
is-
events as it is. We don't need the
My
Premier
point is,
League, the
though,
World
it's
Series.
non-ranked.
Don't agree with the Slam being ranked. We just got priorities
It's
wrong
non-ranked.
completely.
It's about TV. The same as these pre-seasons. They want to get it on all these TV companies in America, China, Saudi Arabia, Dubai. So that's why they asked Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid.
Yeah, I'm not denying that, but the only event in darts that is truly global is the World Championship. That's the only
I
time
disagree.
I'll allow others to run qualifiers and that sort of thing. That is truly global and picked up by absolutely everybody. And that if your one player goes on and does something at a World Championship, it'll hit the news. Devon Peterson's probably the best example for that. South Africa could not care about darts for 95% of the year. If Devon Peterson goes to the World Championships and wins his first 2 rounds, it will hit the news.
I think it would, if Devon was in the Premier League, that would also then make it. If he's
Possibly,
pushing in
but
that.
I'm not about to hand Devon Peterson an opportunity over somebody that's 15 points higher than him in the ranking just because a few more people will tune in at a time that's not convenient for them. The Australian market doesn't work for it either. There's only so many time zones that are conducive for watching darts at the time that we watch it in the UK.
Jar, you know the Triple Crown exists.
The Triple Crown does not exist.
Right, we'll jump back into the chat room, but we're just talking about the general Premier League. Scroll back through, boys. If you see a question you like, get them in as well. We've wound Gob off enough.
I think there was a couple more questions just at me, so I'm just ignored. I've just gone off on what he said. Walked away. Aaron Neal, do you think the PDC will ever bring an event back to Canada? Do you know what? I don't think they're miles away. Isn't there already one of the CDC events in Canada? Not a big ranking event, don't get me wrong, but the CDC tour is only getting better. The CDC were involved in the Central American qualifier early in the week as well, which we haven't spoken about that yet, which is caused a stir on Twitter.
Aaron, I'm sure you'll know better than me, but last time I spoke to Matt about World Series events and new territories, the different province within Canada are a bit of a nightmare to try and work with each other and stuff like that. So it was a bit like if you take it to one province, then the others get the hump. So I don't know. It was a bit to do with in province fighting and things like that.
Yeah.
To be fair, someone asked for a rankings mover as well, and funny enough,
was Missy. Not Missy, sorry, Winita. I'm looking at it now. What do you think about the movers and shakers of the Order of Merit?
And just like that, we get this, boys.
We do.
So look, Nathan back up into the top 10. Rob Cross has clung on and moved up a place. Chizzy down to 12. But Danny Knockett, the big mover.
Climbs about throwing a dart. That's interesting. Only Johnny Clayton, by the way, could fall for not qualifying after winning 3 majors this year. Or 3 TV titles this year. Because he was a seed as well. It's not even like, oh, I'm just so done with it.
Dirk not banging on the door of the top 16. Noppy into the top 16.
Dirk's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, Ian White continues to fall. Daryl Gurney plummets 7 places to 23, boys.
Yeah, I had him for a decent run at the qualifiers today as well, and he didn't do anything. Really.
That'll please Big Vincent falls without throwing a dart. He'll be happy. Again, Dobes manages to move up a place
without 3 on +5. Hector, Labanauskas, Kim, Hybrex. Keep an eye on those 3 for the back end of the year. Labanauskas, he's just solid. He's got something about him. He's done bits at the late side. He's going to continue to get better. Damon Hector is only going in one direction. And Kim Hybrex, threatened it for a while, backed him for a semi-final at the weekend in which he did nothing. But he qualified tonight in pretty convincing fashion. I don't think Kim Hybrex is a million miles away from his top 16 form.
Ricky Evans falls 5 places, as does Jeffrey DeJuan. He's in a whole world of trouble.
Yes.
Huge trouble.
How has Matt Top moved up a place? When was the last time he played?
Keegan Brown dropped 4 because he was defending money.
Yeah. Willie Borland, that's a jump, +12. He's now into the top 64 in the world.
Massive jump. That win got him what? From 64 would have been about 70th, I believe.
76.
Yeah. Sorry, he already had the 6 title on, didn't he? So he won an extra 4 tie, was it, for beating Whitlock?
Yeah.
So
a lot of moves. Richie Eddowes +8 as well. I tell you what, that's gone under the radar, boys. Richie Eddowes 21-7-5 on his opening year so far. That's gone under the radar.
Yeah. Look, that's what the power of the European Championship can do, and that first round. And look, he didn't play horrendously. His 180 hitting, by the way, he's up there with the very best in this sport. He's solid at the trebles.
Adam Smith-Neill 108 into the top 128 without a tour card.
Mm-hmm.
So, Winnie, that's the movers and shakers for you in the rankings.
I'm still a little bit further back, so hopefully we can run through a quick few and catch up. Any news about when Paul Nicholson will play again? Not at the minute. He's recently had his last bit of surgery, hasn't he, Phill? So he's on the mend, but I don't think he's
at the moment.
Play competitively for a while.
Yeah.
And there's a question about the format of the World Seniors. Could it be like the old World's format of 8 groups of 3 and then group winners go through? All we know is it's set play at the minute.
Yeah, all we know is it's set play. Not 100% sure on that.
Nathan says no word for Diogo Portela. No, I did just touch on that. There was the Central and South America qualifier for the World Championships. Diogo qualifies yet again.
I got
the darts
things were a little bit jazzy on Twitter, didn't it?
Yeah. The darts referee caused a little bit of a stir, questioning if he had any South American relatives to sneak in, and I think a few people took it not how it was intended.
Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest standard, but like I keep saying, you have to start somewhere. You have to give the players the opportunity to be a truly global sport. Diogo is comfortably the best player from that region at the minute, but the more and more the players get exposed to competing with Diogo and the opportunities to beat him, the sooner that game rises. 100%. That's just how it works.
Yeah. As much as he eased through and the quality was questioned, I'd rather him easing through a qualifier than just being given the spot. At least that opportunity was opened up. So for me, I'm all for that, even though it says he absolutely dominated the field on that. But it gave opportunities, and people will know what they need to do next year and the year on to try and get to that spot. But the guy's put in a lot of dedication. We've seen him on the live league a month or two back. So well done on getting his spot in there. But yeah, the qualities was questionable in regards to how easy he got through. But it's going to get better now just to know that as long as that spot remains, which I'm sure it will, there's something for them to play for.
I'll tell you, really good question.
You're going to win a legitimate qualifier or the highest ranked max hop. You're going to pick the qualifier all day, every day, because they've earned it.
Really good question from San here. He says, if a player gets picked to play in the World Series, do the PDC pay their airfare, hotels, or do they have to fork out, i.e. Australia pre-COVID? I'm guessing you mean a normal World Series event, like the ones all over, not the finals. If you get picked to go to Australia, the PDC pay their airfares and hotels.
I think so.
Yeah, I know they do. And they get an appearance fee on top.
Yes.
Nice work if you can get it.
Yes.
But good question.
Couple of old ones. Ari Lively, what's happening with that Ali Pali WDF Q score? Would have been extended break. Also love a Champ of Champs, all phase winners except with a crowd. The schedule is planned out, so we do take a break just as the PDC World Championship hits. After that, the resumption will be when we can get it back on when it's not so crowded, I believe.
I know the start date, but I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah. And as for with a crowd, the problem is because it's over 6 days, trying to get solid numbers that make it worth having a crowd of size in for the sessions that we'd need it. You need a big commitment to that. You can't put 20 people in a room and that sort of thing. And the early morning crowds perhaps don't work as much either. One here from Dynamite, which leads on nicely to the poll as well. We might as well end the poll quickly while we've still got 10 minutes left. Do you think a female player will make a TV9 data anytime soon? And after that, we'll discuss who will win the second Grand Slam spot of the Ladies Series this weekend.
I think right now there's only two lady players capable of hitting 9 darters.
Yeah.
I believe Fallon missed double 18 at Q School against Jenks for one.
Possibly. It rings a bell. I remember her hitting one years back.
Yeah, and a couple of times at the Live League, she's missed, I think, dart 8. Because Fallon is always a 45-36 on the 81.
Yeah.
She's missed the 45 a couple of times. So, yeah, look, Fallon and Lisa, can they hit 9 darters? Absolutely, they are capable.
And I think the follow-on to that is also the amount of TV coverage both players get in regards to what happens with certain events being on TV, which ones they're playing. So for me, I'm with you on that, PB, but it's also how much they are on TV to actually do that. Yeah. Probably throws out another question. And opens up a topic that we won't move on to tonight. We'll go back to Dog with the poll.
comfortably the winner of the poll then for who will win the second Grand Slam spot at the Ladies Series this weekend goes to Lisa Ashton. Obviously, the second Grand Slam spot is for the winner of the Order of Merit for the next 6 events. So it's just this weekend. That is the Grand Slam spot. Then the overall top 2 from the Order of Merit from the first weekend and the second weekend combined get the World Championship spot. And the top 8 ladies from the overall Order of Merit combined would also get free entry to Q School as well. Ashton heading in as a big favourite. The fact that the other ladies have played a lot more. Say again?
I'm guessing if Fallon wins it again, it'll go to second.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, it'd be the next highest qualified. And she's not a million miles away from not being able to be caught for the overall spot either, without looking at the rankings off the top of my head. And Lisa would only need an event or 2 or a deep run in another one to mean that those 2 are the overall top 2 for top 8 as well. But that 8 players getting free entry to Q School is a nice incentive. And actually, the last time Lisa Ashton played darts will have been the last Ladies Series. The rest of the field have been off and about. Was it the Danish Open? Now the British Open. They've played a lot more darts recently. Is Lisa Ashton that big of a favourite this weekend?
To that, will she then be playing the next 4 days, though, leading into...
Well, yeah, that's my... Will she be burnt out come having to do 4 days of Pro Tours and then 3 events a day in the Ladies Series?
Yeah.
But
I guess
it's essential for us because of how the Grand Slam spot is.
Defending a card.
Go on, Dob, sorry.
I was just only playing 2 or 3 days of the Pro Tour wouldn't be horrendous. Just ease yourself in. But the fact she's defending her card might be a bit of an issue. But if the backdoor entries, as we're going to call them, to the Slam and the World Championships then go on her ranking, surely there's more urgency to qualify for both of those events through the Ladies Series than there is to try and keep her card outright through the Pro Tour. Because a first round, a group appearance at the Grand Slam and a first round at the World Championships is what, nearly 15 grand?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum for Lisa that.
We need someone to evaluate on day, probably end of day 2 of the Pro Tour to see how they have done. But like you said, in regards to preparation, I might have not played in some of these events like this weekend because of knowing this. She had this long wait of darts coming up. I expect to see her playing all of the events that are possible this week. It'll be good preparation for her, but I think it'll depend on how she does over the first 2, maybe 3 days.
Another good question from Lendl as well. Who's the best under 18 player at the moment?
Interesting. Haven't seen a lot of Bennett to put him firmly number 1 as he has been before. Luke Littler's playing very, very well.
I'd say Luke Littler's playing very well.
Up there. I'm trying to think if there's any 17s that have snuck onto the Dev Tour. James Beaton, maybe?
I think
he must be in the conversation too, because when it was JDC era, wasn't James competing with Leighton anyway? So there's a few in that little bracket.
Oh, Arsenal, 4 minutes added time. Arsenal equalised 94 40 seconds.
Oh, behave.
So yeah, for me right now, I'd say Leighton or Luke.
Yeah.
For me. Right,
what else do we have? Simon says, what do you guys think with the World Series on BBC? I think it's great. It'd be great to see the great broadcaster Ray Stubbs back in darts and the great Bobby George. Look, it is a fantastic lineup already. I know we are the official media partners of the event. We're all going to be there. We're very much looking forward to it. But look, the BBC has a massive draw worldwide. If you can get on it and access it wherever. They've announced the broadcaster in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland as well. The lineup is so good. The event's just full of nostalgia. I just think there's more to come as well. There's been no commentary team announced yet. But I suspect that there'll be a few big hitters in there as well, guys that really know their stuff, but don't give me them eyes. Yeah, look, there's just so much excitement for the World Seniors event, and a lot of comments we're seeing is that people are more excited for that than they have been for a lot of darts events for a long, long time, and that's what happens when you put the names back in a room together.
Yeah. Oh, massively.
Because it is just stacked with every single dart player that has got you into darts, unless you're 12 years old or younger.
Malachi said, who's your picks for tomorrow? Not going to say until I actually see the list, because I think there could be some casualties tomorrow from the original list. I'm not sure that all the big hitters are going to go.
Yeah, and also looking at, I was just going to say, looking at the performances we've seen today as well from some players, it's certainly going to be a very good field. Just looking at the numbers we saw in the qualifiers, with a range from 96 to 105 average, some of the performances, and that Dame will certainly give him a bit of an head start going into tomorrow. So I'm certainly not going to tip anyone to win.
It's going to take some bloody stopping if he plays the way he has tonight.
Yeah.
He got beat for 104 average, but other than that, he was solid elsewhere. Should be a good week.
I'm not going to tip anyone to win it because I won't do that to them so early on. However, I expect to see a surprise or two, especially down in the long run, if not go on and win one.
Yeah, I know Gary's actually playing all 4 days, but he needs to.
He's entered all 4 days. Whether that stays the same on day 4 is a different matter, Philip, and you know that.
I think he knows he has to, unless he wins one of them. If he wins one on day 1 or 2, that might change. But right now, I don't think he's at Minehead, or he's only just in. So he needs...
Yeah. Are we going to bring up anything else that we've discussed earlier on in the WhatsApp as well? Because now it's Gary Anderson. I mean, come on.
Come.
Fair to say, myself and Jarrah have had a few disagreements today. Jamie, I've always been gold. Don't you worry about that.
Our WhatsApp chat's been gold today.
Dave's typo has just made my day.
So then.
Dave's typo has just made my day. We should do a player lounge after a match at the World Seniors hosted by God and Phill. He meant me, but he's called me God instead.
It's definitely time to end the show if that's happening.
To be fair, I think we're just about there. We've waffled for 2 hours. Not waffle, but we've had a great show for the last 2.5 hours. Boys, I actually really enjoyed tonight.
It's been very, very good.
Will you be in a better mood next Monday?
Probably not.
Okay. I'm just asking, just so we all know we got the same miserable year next week. We're looking forward to it. It's fine.
We're playing you lot on the weekend, aren't we? So.
Oh yeah, one of us is going to be annoyed on Monday.
Yeah. It's probably going to be me because you lot will part and bussing and shithouse it. So
Also, just a little reminder: huge day of darting action tomorrow on the channel. We have the live league from 9:30, day 2 of Group A, and the Super Series live on air at 12 o'clock, where we will take you through all the Pro Tour action. As always, different members of the team on throughout the week. And then I think is it me and you, Gob, Saturday and Sunday?
It is me and you Saturday, Sunday. It's Charlie tomorrow. It's his debut on a Pro Tour, so don't give him too much stick, will you guys? He'll ease his way into it. You've got Tiz on Wednesday. It's to be decided Thursday, Friday, because everybody's busy. So we might have to be ringing up a few of the the old management and that sort of thing. And then me and you all day Saturday and Sunday. What a weekend that is.
Absolutely unreal. Well, everyone, we have been Online Darts. It's been an absolute pleasure spending the last 2 hours with you, talking all the talking points from the last 7 days in darts. Remember, before you go, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe. I've been Phill Bars, Jack Dobby Garwood and Lee Boyce. It's an absolute pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow, but the live lounge returns next week.
Let's go.